What up, man? How you guys doing out there on this Thursday? Anyways, today is chapter 3, The Valley's Awakening. I'll be reading this to you in just a second, but I have to get my sponsors in. Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew. So cool and refreshing. Anyways, and Fogger, best tasting vape. And you could get a hell of a hit from it. Yee! After I catch my breath. Woo! That'll wake you up in the morning. Let's get started on The Valley's Awakening. Ooh, that was a good one. What a rush. You gotta bear with me. When I'm reading, sometimes I can fuck up. But here we go. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. The Valley's Awakening. One more time. The sun peeked over the horizon as I pulled into the parking lot. The usual 4:45 a.m. The sky was still a murky shade of blue-gray. Today wasn't just another day at work. It was the beginning of a massive undertaking that would reshape the valley and, quite frankly, our lives for the foreseeable future. Mike, along with the other bosses, had called a meeting at 5 a.m. sharp. The news they had to share was a game-changing. All right, listen up, Mike started, his voice echoing slightly in the brisk morning air. We're hiring 550 employees to clear the valley. It's a big task, and we're counting on you to train these new recruits. I glanced at Tony, a fellow supervisor. We both had the same stunned expression, but a sense of responsibility quickly settled in. Each of you will train 250 workers, Mike continued. He'll train them in groups of 15, pick the 2 best for each group to be supervisors, and then move on to the next 15. Got it? Sorry. We nodded, the enormity of the task sinking in. As if the training wasn't enough, we also tasked with another critical job. Mike added, you'll need to drive down to Temecula to Big D's hardware store to pick up 550 weed whackers. Bring them back and assemble them ASAP. This operation needs to be running smoothly and efficiently. We transformed an old ranch into a makeshift shop where all the gear, including water, gas, and weed whackers, was to be checked out each morning. I was put in charge of this process, adding another layer of responsibility to my growing list of duties. Each day I was up before dawn, arriving at the shop by 5 a.m. to ensure everything was in order. I checked out all the tools, training the new crews, and made rounds to check on the progress of the crews we had already trained. One day, the bosses arrived on site with a truckload of pitchforks. See all that brush you guys been cutting down? Mike asked. We can't leave it laying around. We need you to roll it down the mountain. dew break. Cutting the brush had been challenging enough, but now we had to move it down the hill using pitchforks. We divided the crew, half cutting and half pitchforking, tackling an enormous task with determination. As months went by, we trained all 550 workers, and the operation was in full swing. I was a young supervisor overseeing older men, which presented its own set of challenges. Many were initially reluctant to work with me, and firing wasn't an option. So I devised a creative solution for dealing with the lazier workers. Oh, this is fucking funny. I found a large anthill and would park my truck nearby. When someone was slacking, I'd call them over to the anthill and give them a stern talking to while they stood on top of it. After a few minutes of chewing them out, I'd send them back to work. As they walked away, the ants would start biting, and the worker would do a little dance to shake them off. What we started calling it ant dance. Hazards were plentiful in the valley: bees, rats, snakes, scorpions, bobcats, coyotes, and much more. My experiences with handling snakes came in handy, as we weren't allowed to kill them because of the biologist's orders. Whenever a crew encountered a rattlesnake, they'd call me. I'd catch and relocate it. Having caught 187 rattlesnakes by that point, excuse me. Mountain Dew's like my beer, dude. Along the many characters working under me, one stood out, a man nicknamed Bear. He was built like a bear, massive and intimidating, and made it clear he didn't like being. Every day he threatened my life, becoming a constant source of stress. One day I had enough. I waited for the right moment and called him out while we were on the mountain. Bear was higher up than me, and I knew that bears couldn't run downhill very well. It was now or never. "Let's go, Bear," I shouted. "Right now, let's settle this." The silence that followed felt like an eternity. Finally, Bear looked at me and said, "I respect you now, son." "Yeah? Well, screw you," I retorted. But for that day forward, he left me alone. Things were running smoothly, but I had a feeling it was just the calm before the storm. Everything seemed to be under control until. Stay tuned to chapter 4. Never know what's coming, man. Later.